If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It is free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You are now listening to Discover Your Potential with renowned radio talk show host and certified holistic practitioner Cindy Gilman. So listen, participate, be inspired. Know that you can discover your potential. Here she is, Cindy Gilman.
You're listening to Discover Your Potential with Cindy Gilman. I'm your host, Dan Gilman, and I'm here to mention something that is rather difficult for me, that my mother, as of April 1st, 2021, has transitioned and passed to another dimension. I wanted to bring a gift to all of you, as my mother has given a gift to everyone for her entire life. And I brought on a dear friend and family member, Gordon Two Beers, with me for this dedication and memory of my dear mother. My mother was a very kind and compassionate and loving person. She brought the world so much more than what others had to offer. She was truly a gift, and today that's what we're going to discuss. And Gordon's going to read a very, very precious quote for all of us. And I wanted to introduce a very special guest. He was on our show actually a few times, Gordon Two Beers. Gordon, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dan. And to all the listeners out there, please express to the family our condolences and our sense of emptiness that we have inside for that space that Cindy took up when she was here with us physically. Perhaps many of you out there are also feeling, though, that space is being filled up with her spiritual presence because she has left that with us. And I'm hoping that Dan has great success in carrying forward with all the things that a mother tries to teach a son in a lifetime. So please join us as I reminisce a little bit. Dan and I were talking before the show about the conversation that his mother and I used to have for sometimes hours on the telephone as we conversed back and forth. And we were talking about the works that she had done both in hands-on and in her radio broadcasts and stuff, and what it was that she conveyed to other people. And Cindy did and still does a lot of the same things that I also do. And that's to explain to everyone that everyone was important and everyone was special. And how gifted she was in being able to do that and convey that, not only to the people that listened to her voice, but also the people that she actually had as her clients in her office. So, in a nutshell, this is kind of what we discuss, and I call this the gift. Now, if you envision Cindy and I just talking back and forth, this is kind of what it would sound like. To all, a gift was given. Some received the gift and never opened it, setting it aside to be forgotten. Some received the gift and not learning to use it, soon learned to abuse it. Some rejected the gift for whatever reason they chose, losing the chance to feel its joy. Cherished are those who humbly accepted the gift with gratitude, saw its true value, and used it for the greater good of all. They are the chosen ones, who are the twinkle in Creator's eye. They became the planted seed that fruits for the future generations. They are the spark of light that kindles the fire of awareness within themselves and who wish to share the fire's warmth with others. They are the ones whose gift is given away freely to all they meet. Theirs is a gift that keeps multiplying the more it is given. So, what is your gift? What has been given you that makes you special in who you are? What gift do you have that is worthy of sharing with those around you? To find the answer to that question, each of us needs to go back to our very first gift. Do you remember it now? Yes, you are the gift. It was given freely and with love from Creator to you to be shared with all of creation. Use your gift in the same loving way it was given you and exchange gifts with others freely and often. In doing this, we return the gift of a worthy and meaningful life back to the Creator. Cindy would wish, and I certainly would wish, that all of your gifts be beautifully wrapped and a joy to your hearts, so that they become wonderful gifts to those that you meet and interact with. That's what Cindy would tell you. That's what Cindy has told me. That's what Cindy has told her son Daniel, and so many of you that have listened out there. The angels hear, Creator hears. You were created by Creator. You are certainly important enough to be listened to and responded to.
Gordon, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. You know, Pablo Picasso actually said, and I know it may not relate completely, but he said the meaning of life is to find your gift, but the purpose of life is to give it away. And I find that a very interesting quote, actually. And I've learned a lot from my mom, actually. She, I never really did or produced, speaking or be engaged in broadcast, or, she's been doing radio production for well over 15, 20 years, or she did. And, she was always very much never an introvert, but much more of an extrovert, where I was quite the opposite, actually. I was more introverted, and I did art, and I was, creating things visually and being much more verbose that way, and engaging people and helping people with my art and some music, of course. But what she has taught me over the years is to actually use your voice. And we all have voice. And actually, I'm working with Les Brown right now on being much more outward. And everybody has a story, and that's a gift in itself. And my mother's given so much to so many people. After she passed, I must have, and I'm not exaggerating, received all over 60 calls. I couldn't even, after she passed, I couldn't even eat lunch or anything. I just kept getting phone calls. It was incredible. And hearing all of the stories that people have, that she left with them, was truly amazing. And knowing that she helped so many people in their lives was and that in itself was a gift. And that's why I think the theme of this show today is about one's gift.
You bring up an important point there, Dan. Is that the teachings and everything that your mom has done in the past and has been handed down to you, word to mouth, and by what she has shown you and stuff like that. Those are special. Mm-hmm. Those same things happen with so many other people that you never met.
Yeah.
Okay. But so much of what your mom has done has been archived
Right.
and is still alive, and it is through the memories and remembering the memories and bringing them forward in a new time that they take on a life of their own and they live forever.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's only done through one thing, one word. And one word sums it all up, and that's love.
Mm.
Okay. If you use that one four-letter word in all of its power, okay, everything stays connected.
Mm.
Now, it's times like these that we learn to love the deepest. Of all the things we can accumulate in life, love is the most precious.
Hmm.
It is the lifeline that connects us to our Creator and to each other in times of struggle, as well as the mountaintops of joy in our shared lives.
Yeah.
Yours and our shed tears and our laughter help wash away the film that tries to dull the shine of our spirit.
Yeah.
We
And
were
oh, sorry.
we were put here to keep our spirit shining brightly and to illuminate everybody around us. Together we can raise the brightness of the world just through the love of ourselves and the love of the life, and recognizing that love in other people, even though they're different than us and they have different ideas and they look different and they wear different clothes and some of them are smelly and all those other different things that happen.
Yeah.
Love is still there. That's the core. That is a testament to our faith and an affirmation of Creator's love for us and our extended family. That was our first gift that He gave us.
Yeah.
So that is the gift of love into a gift of life and a gift of togetherness and connectedness. Your mom saw that. Your mom taught that. Your mom healed people that were disconnected from that. And your mom taught you those things. Even though she kind of probably guarded your life a little bit and sheltered you from some of the other things.
Right.
Okay. She allowed you to grow in your own, and you didn't have to grow in the shadows of somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I also noticed too. I mean, love is an incredible, not just emotion, but just it's empowering, but also feeling gratitude, because when I received many of the phone calls from people whom she's healed, people whom she's touched, and loved, and they've expressed their gratitude immensely, and it's incredible. It's like, when I spoke with them, they were wrapping this present they had wrapped, and they were just opening it up and just telling me these incredible stories,
Mm-hmm.
and their gratitude, and that's another, I think, component that's really, it's really important, feeling gratitude, because most people, when they receive a gift, maybe they just go off and they're not so gracious, and they don't even are thankful for it. But even many of her clients that she touched actually became friends,
Oh, yeah.
and those friends, I can see all these, touch points. So it's quite extraordinary.
Do you remember the toy, the Light Bright?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, and it was pretty nice. It was a little plastic box, and it had a little light bulb in it, and you would put a sheet of black paper in there, and you had these little plastic little pointy things, and you would poke a hole through that, and it would light up with the color from the light behind it would shine through. And what Cindy did, and what many of us do, is as we go through life, we have a handful of these pins, and when we interact with somebody,
That's interesting.
we push the pin in, and this little bright light comes up, and then we'll push a pin in over here, and a little bright light will come up. Well, after a while, you can look back, and all these people that you've interacted with over the years, you can see that all of their little pins are all lit up. And there's a brand new picture where there used to be just a black screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's like the trail markers of where have you been. Well, there they are. They're all lit up. You know, so if we light up that little spark in somebody else through our interactions, you know, they're going to have their own reactions to it. Some are going to be quite thankful because, you know, it's illuminated something within them and they see it too.
Yeah.
Others, perhaps it isn't going to be quite as bright, you know, but it's still there. It's just waiting to be plugged in at some point. So it's interesting that you mentioned that about your mom.
Yeah, she's that spark of light that triggers all those multiple. I love that analogy. That's really great.
Did she ever tell you what I used to call her?
No.
Oh.
Or maybe she did, but
I had a nickname for her. I called her my little Jewish spark plug.
Oh.
She had a way of firing up the engine and getting it going.
Nice.
So yeah, that was one of my. I said, "Oh, my Jewish spark plug."
That's funny.
Yeah, it was. It was so interesting. You know, how your mom and I came into being friends so many years ago. It's just like it's that law of attraction. You've probably heard that term so many times.
Yeah.
You know, when there's things to be done, Creator has a way of bringing things together so that they can be done.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's just, I don't know how it happens. I don't question how it happens. I can just validate that it's happened so many times in my life. Mm-hmm. You know, and I after a while, I kind of developed this little thing of saying, hey, maybe I can figure out maybe something out of this to do. You know, and I think your mom kind of figured it out too. I called it making a spiritual trip planner. You know, if you find out that you got these capabilities and other people have these capabilities, so what are you going to do with it? Where are you going to go with it?
Yeah.
You know, you're asking yourself the same questions right now about that. It's wonderful how the part of us that is curious and asks questions that we seek answers to kind of leads us to other people and places that start to answer some of those things in our minds. Mm-hmm. Now, in a spiritual energy sense, like attracts like. The law of attraction moves us to another place and another paradigm shift that increases our understanding and our growth. Now, is that coincidence, or is that Creator working with us in our development to become fully human?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I even noticed it, not to bring up my work, but transitioning to from one area of work to another and changing my passion based on what happened even over the last few days, even with my mother's passing. I've noticed a transition, and that's interesting.
And you know, the thing about the transition, you know, the term transition, lots of people will take this as a being of something different.
Yeah.
But transition does not mean that you lose connection. The connection is still there.
Right.
But it's a connection in a different form and in a different expression. Okay, but the connection, the base, the tether, the core belief, the love is still there. That's the connection point. That's the glue that holds the whole thing together.
Yeah. So just harkening back, how long have you known my mother actually?
Oh, good Lord. Well, your mother got that book from Chief White Eagle back in 2003, so it was certainly before that. I'm thinking it was, good Lord, probably had to be the very late 90s.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, the very late 90s where we first started having our interact. I think I met her at one of our local powwows, as a matter of fact.
Yep, I remember attending one of the powwows that you were at.
Yeah, and your mom was really, really interested in, you know, the Native American side of spirituality.
Yes,
and tuned right in on the sameness. And we used to have long discussions about different her religions, and how and what the beliefs were, and and how I expressed myself spiritually, and how this group over here expressed themselves spiritually, and we soon came to the real quick collision in our minds that the pathways that they were taking, the clothes that they were wearing, and the manner in which they were doing things were all different.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? The destination was the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like the saying of one of the people that we held in common that we really, really enjoyed being around and loved dearly was John Running Deer. He was an elder that has crossed over, and I don't know if you remember your mom talking about John Running Deer or not.
Many times.
Yeah.
She thought he was extremely obviously gifted and a powerful, intuitive.
Yeah,
person.
well, your mom took on that saying that I had passed along to her that he had given in a powwow one day,
Mm-hmm.
and utilized that real well as for her understanding, because it was certainly eye opening to me, because we struggle with how do we tell the differences between people's religions and stuff, and which one is right, which one. Well, John was talking at a powwow one time, and there were people from all different walks of life in the powwow.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, people ask me about, what's the best way to talk to Creator. He says, you over there, he says, what kind of phone do you have? And the guy says, I got a Nokia. And the other one says, well, what kind of phone do you have? He says, I got an Apple phone. And the other one says, well, I got a Motorola.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, hey, who's your carrier? One says, I got Singular, and the other one says over here, he says, I got AT&T, I got Verizon. And he says, I'm going to ask you a question. He says, when you dial your phone, he says, does it make a phone call? And yeah. Well, he says, if you're going to call the Creator, he don't care what phone you're calling on. He don't care what plan you're calling on. He wants to know if you got the right number.
Right. That's great. I love that.
So and your mom saw that core thing. She knew that the energy, the love energy, was the key.
Yeah.
So that was all part of her and me and all of us learning how to navigate, our spiritual trip planner,
Yeah.
our higher connected self, to follow those direction markers I told you about. Then our lives, can remain exciting. It can remain full of wonder.
Yeah.
Because we can become like changed beings, getting ever closer to our real potential and power that we've been given. We just haven't discovered it yet.
Right.
And that's just that makes life exciting, even though it has its ups and downs. In the material world, we are all born. We are born of the spirit into a physical being for a period of time, and then we go back, and our spirit goes back to where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's the circle of life. Everything is in a circle, and that's the natural way of things. And it's unnatural for us to not be excited about the next step of the journey.
Mm.
We all face it. Yes, we miss that which was, okay, but we need to remain excited for that which can be. And utilize that which we were given to the highest potential. So that's why I'm assured, Daniel, that as my adopted nephew now, okay, that you're just going to be doing excellent with the gifts that your mom has given you and passed down to you. As your interactions go out there, and you're going to create a wonderful, bright light pinboard out there that you'll be able to look back on too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I just have a question. It might be too personal for you that you don't want to talk about, but do you feel that my mother left any gifts or gave you any gifts directly?
Directly?
I mean, not directly, but just did she give you, do you feel like she gave you gifts?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, your mother was real good at awakening within me my biases.
Mm.
Okay, and because we all have those,
Sure.
you know, but she also awakened within me my flexibility that I had, you know, where perhaps she wasn't. We were a good sounding board to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was, if you could consider ideas a racquetball, we were kind of like the walls that the ball was bouncing on. We'd bounce that ball back and forth between us,
Mm-hmm.
to get an understanding of not only each other, but, of ourselves in the process. So, I mean, that's a process that, um, that she certainly gifted to me that brought it to my understanding. The other thing that she brought to my understanding, she kept trying to push me to become more um, outgoing, like her personality was. And I
Mm.
am kind of like you. I am not one to want to go into the. I could certainly never get up and do the song and dance routines on the stage that your mother did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not within that. So, she was constantly with, well, let's start having you teaching a bunch of Reiki classes, or having you, teach your relaxation therapy classes. And I never really had a hankering to do that on a public, because I always did things on a one-to-one basis,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So, she pointed that out to me as something that, was a potential that was there that I wasn't utilizing. I'm not saying that I, in fact, ended up utilizing it either, because I didn't.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
But,
So,
it was great because we were both stubborn in our own ways.
mm-hmm.
Most of us older folks are. So.
Yeah. 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 She's quite an incredible woman. She was an incredible woman. She still is, in
No,
spirit.
she's already sent you validation, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. Yep, she has actually a few times. Chief White Eagle called me with validation, and actually somebody actually who we had on the program before. She called up. She didn't know my mother passed, and she said there was a flyer that was sitting somewhere, and she didn't know where it was, and it just flew off her desk, and she said, "Oh, I gotta call Cindy." And ironically, I was in her home because I was just waiting for something to get picked up, because we're closing that down right now. But it was just right. It was right there. That was a gift in itself. There's been a few signs that have cropped up, which I am actually in gratitude. I guess the crux of it is my mother has helped so many people on so many different levels, and I'm so glad that she brought gifts to everyone, not just me. And I should say I've been selfish my entire life because I've had her for myself. She was a single mother. She brought me up alone, but she taught me so many different things. Like, as I was growing up, she was on a traditional radio station for many years, as I mentioned, on WHJJ, and her show was extremely compelling. She had people on like Dr. Wayne Dyer, Dr. Bernie Siegel, and Dr. Andrew Weil, and just so many amazing guests that had incredible minds and have written books and have been published and have been doing this type of work for many years. And it's interestingly enough, though, my mother never looked for fame. If you noticed, she did her work selflessly for everyone, and
Yep.
it didn't matter if she was making $1 or $1,000,000. She always said, I can't charge them. And I always
Well,
said,
I was going to point that out to you, Daniel. Your mother always remained humble,
she was very humble.
No matter who she encountered or who she interacted with or who she rubbed shoulders with. Your mom was your mom.
Yep.
Okay, Cindy was Cindy. She didn't put on airs, and that was just, the truth is out there,
Yeah.
just like you wear who you are on your sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah, she always feared that. She didn't want to get, so big, even though she was, so big that she hardly, charged for her services, which we talked about, but she was quite an extraordinary person. Just not just from a spiritual level, and I mean, she performed. I think I mentioned this at the beginning, but she performed since age 7, and sang professionally, and then gradually. I mean, she performed at Rockefeller Center. And I'll probably have other shows that talk about her past, and maybe even some really interesting guests who've performed with her, which would be really exciting. But really, and then she transitioned from performing to this work. And I say this work, meaning, helping people heal through energy, through, guided imagery, through meditation, through Reiki, through all of these modalities that really, and that was part of that gift.
Yep. Yeah, she taught you that we're all performers, really, for Creator. Not for each other, but for Creator.
Yes.
Creator is going to look at our performance when we stand before him again. Okay, and we'll critique the performance, and and if we know that we're doing that for, that reason, that 4-letter word we talked about before, we're performing not for us. We're performing, for others. Okay, we're actually performing for that which connects us all. That's why it was tough for her to accept money for something, because she knows, just like I know, and many other healers out there know, that we're not doing anything. What is happening to other people is going through us.
Yeah.
We're being utilized as the tool to facilitate it to someone else. And it's real. I fully understand her, because I would never charge for any of my healing services, because I couldn't charge for something that I wasn't doing. You know what I'm saying? I was just the instrument for it. So your mom was the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and she just transcended. And I noticed that, near the end of her life too, she'd become much more spiritual too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty interesting, that we are not our possessions, right? We are, and actually Dr. Wayne Dyer said that we're not our bodies, our possessions, or our careers. Who we are is divine love, and that is infinite. And you said it really well near the beginning about love. And it just, but today's show really is to inform, the people about, and they already know about her gift because they've been listening to her for long enough. And the type of people that she had on her show all had gifts that they gave to the world. Whether they're artists or performers. But today's show is really a dedication to her and her brilliance and her beauty and her magnificence in all of her energy that she gave all of us. And, she will truly be missed. So with that, I do want to, we made this a short show. I'd love to have you on again, Gordon, because you have so many profound, you're just an amazing person, and I love, chatting with you. And she also loved having you on. and having some amazing discussions on ear and off ear.
Well, she bugged me more than you probably realized to go on the show more than I did.
That's true.
Yeah, it is true. Well, I'll leave you and your listeners with one thing, Daniel, and then I'll allow you to sign off here to all your faithful listeners out there. And you're coming to that point now, of the teachings that and understandings of really of the multifaceted person that your mother was. Okay, and I want all the listeners out there to understand that you also have these multifacets about your own lives. Okay, Daniel, when you discover your spiritual energy is the real you, then you can understand the importance of nurturing and fine tuning that energy to be the best you that you can be. In fact, everybody out there, think of it. Think of me talking to you personally about this. In fact, working on or adjusting or upgrading your energy is one of the keys of transitioning from what you are right now to what you could be. Doing this will change your world around you.
Mm.
It will bring you into resonance with a new energy vibration. It opens up vistas that you haven't yet discovered, but they're waiting for you to have your interaction with them, your unique interaction with them. That's the true evolution that Creator has given all of us. You, Daniel, your mom knew this, I know this, and all of those people out there that are hearing our words needs to know this. That's the true evolution that Creator has offered us all, is to be co-creators and to be in good relations with all things, to be in balance, to understand that you were born from love and that ultimately you're going to return to that same love. That's the truth of things.
That's incredible. Thank you, Gordon, for being a part of all the listeners and giving yourself and your own gifts to everyone here.
Thank you, Daniel. I was honored that you asked me to speak with you tonight and to speak with all of those out there. Okay, carry forward the legacy. I'm sure you'll do fine. If not, I can slap you with one of my moccasins if you want me to.
Yes, that would be great. Well, this is Dan Gilman on Discover Your Potential. And as my mother always used to say, or she always used to end a show with, make sure you do something good for yourself. And I'm going to end with a quote. Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And that was written by Bill Keane. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We look forward to our next show. We have a very special guest for you. And until then, do something nice for yourself. Do something great for yourself. Thank you.
I know he's around when the sky and the ground start in ringing. I know that he's near by the thunder I hear in advance. His words and his words alone are the words that can start my heart singing. 'Cause his is the only you sleep and you rise in the light of two eyes that adore him. For him it might, but he won't leave my sight for a glance.